Hi developers, from this video, I will be uploading a series of videos where we will be building a web application which will have two pieces, a client side as well as the admin side. The main agenda is to build the admin section where an admin will be able to see which user has purchased which product, and also we will add some charts and graphs for visual representation of our data. If you have some prior experience or developing web application for the first time, then nothing to worry. I'm going to guide you through each and every process. If it sounds good to you, you can open your editor and start coding along with me. And if you get stuck somewhere, you can write your doubt in the comment section below. I will be happy to help you out. And also do not forget to subscribe to my channel so you do not miss the next part of this video. To create this web application, we will be using React.js, Node.js, Express.js, and for database, we will be using MongoDB as our database. And we will also deploy this website on render.com. Now let's start building this application. For tools, I'm going to use VS Code as my text editor. If you do not have this installed, you can use any other text editor of your choice, or also you can go to this website code.visualstudio.com and click on this button, download for Windows, and then it will be downloaded inside your download section right here. Once it get downloaded, you can open it and then you have to click on this button, I accept the agreement, and click on this button next, and you can check all of these check boxes and click next, and then you can click on this button install, and it will be installed in your computer. Another most important thing that we will require is Node.js. Now what is this? This Node.js will give us the environment to run our JavaScript code. As we all know, a web application is built with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. JavaScript is able to run inside our browser only. In order to run it outside the browser, we need this Node.js. Make sure you're connected to your internet and click on this button, download and install. And then you will be landed here. Then you have to choose this option, which is pre-built installer. Here you will get a download button which says download Node.js for version 22. If you click on this button, it will be downloaded, and you can check it in your download section here, and you will find it something like this. And once you will click on this, you will get this window opened, and then you can click on this button next, and here you will get a button for install, and you can install this application in your system. You can open your file explorer and go to your desired location where you want to save the files for this front-end and back-end project. Here we are going to maintain both our front-end and back-end project. I'm inside my desktop and I have this new folder. Inside that, I will create two separate folders. First for back-end, here I will store all the files regarding my back-end, and then I will create one more folder for front-end. Here I will store all the files regarding to my front end of my application. Then I will right click it and I will open with it VS Code. Now you can see I'm inside my VS Code and I have these two folders already ready in my application. Let us go with this front end folder first. For that, what you need to do is you should click on this front end and then right click it. Here you will get the option for open in integrated terminal. Click on this button and then you will see something like this. Here, let us set up our React application. To set up our React application, you need to write the command which is npx create React app. And I'm putting dot here. You can also write a folder name, but if I will put dot, that means it will consider this present directory only. So let us do that. And now you can see it is saying that installing this many packages. So it requires some packages. So it will take some time, and make sure you're connected with your internet to do this action. If in some case this command doesn't work in your system, that means what you have to do is you can write npm install -g npm install this library first, and then write this command which is npx create React app. Now once your application is installed, you will see this message happy hacking, and you need to write npm start and hit enter. It will directly go to your browser at localhost 3000. It is a default port for starting your React application, and you can see your React application is ready here. If you haven't worked with React anytime in your life, I will explain you what it is. So all these folders that you see, you do not have to worry of any of them. All you need to do is you need to go inside this src folder, and here the main file is, which is app.js. Everything that you see here, this rotating icon as well as this edit src app.js, you can see edit src app.js and save to reload. You are seeing this interface only because of this code, this line of code. If you will remove all of this and let us create and let us write our own name, then once you will go in your browser, let us reload this. So you can see now only my name is visible here because I have removed each and everything from here. So in short, what it is, my main intention is to tell that inside this brackets, whatever we write is HTML. In fact, this is not HTML, this is XML, but if you're doing it for the first time, then you can understand, yes, this is HTML. We will write HTML code inside it. And before this return statement, everything that we will write here, suppose console.log, and I can write my name here. Anything that I write before this return statement, I will write JavaScript here. Where do I will write CSS? Yes, you have assumed it, right? I can write class, I can provide class and ID, and I can write my CSS in this app.css file or in this index.css file. Or we can also create our own CSS file if it is required. So let us see if this JavaScript code is running or not. This console.log will just print the statement inside our console. So we can go and we can inspect it. And inside this console, you need to save this file. And you can see this Uma Sahani has printed. Now why it is printed 2 times? Because we are inside the strip mode. So to fix that issue, you can go inside your index.js and just remove this line of code, line number 9 and line number 11. Now, when you will save your file and you will see Uma Sahani has printed only one time, that we have done in app.js line number 6. Now, inside this React.js, if you will write all the code at the same file, then this code can become messy. So what we can do instead, we can divide our codes into components. Now, what are components? Components are nothing but just a function. It has a fancy term known as component. So what you have to do for that is, inside this src, make sure you are inside this src, you have to right click it and click on this button new folder, and you have to create one folder for components. You can name this folder anything, but the official way to do is as component. Now inside this component, we will create different files which will be our functions only in terms of JavaScript. Now what I have with me is, I have some files. So I'm creating db.json. And what my intention is to do here is, first let us create the client section where different products will be listed here. For that products, I have this data which is present over here, and we are going to list this data. But we will not take this data from our file, but instead we will use a database for this. For fetching this data from our database, we will first need a backend system, and then we will integrate our backend system with our database. So let us do that first. For that, we have to go inside backend folder. Right click it and click on this button open in integrated terminal. You can write CLS to clear the screen. Now let us initialize our backend folder. To do that, you need to write npm init-y. It will initialize your backend folder. If you will go inside it, you will find that a package.json file has been created. To create our backend, what we are going to use is Express.js, which is a library of Node.js, and for database, we are going to use MongoDB. Now, we need to install this library known as Express.js. So we have to write npm I express, and for connecting our backend to a database, we will need another library which is known as Mongoose. And then you can click on this button enter, and this library will be installed in your backend folder. Now, few changes that you can observe is, this node model folder is being created, and you also get this package log.json file. inside this, you got this new section where inside this dependencies, you have two dependencies, Express and Mongoose, that we have installed right now. We will also require one more dependency, which is node_mon. This node_mon, so what happened in general is, whenever we make changes in our backend code, we have to restart our application from start. So every time writing a start command to restart our application is so much of time waste. So what we can do, we can automate this. Whenever we make changes, our application will get reset automatically. To do that, we need this library, which is known as node_mon. So for that, you need to install it. You have to write npm I node_mon. And if it is installed, you will get this message. And you can also check if it is installed successfully or not. You will get that inside your dependencies inside this node_mon. Now we have installed 3 of these libraries, and let us now use it. Now to create our backend folder, let us first create the main file, which is index.js. Here, what libraries that we have installed it, let us use that library to create our backend system. For that, you need to write const express equals to require express. This line of code is just importing that library inside this file, which is index.js. Now we are initializing this express library inside this variable, which is app. Now this express is used to create our server, so we have to listen to our server. So we will write app.listen, and then we have to provide a port number. Let us use 8080. You can also use any other number. And then we have to provide a callback function. And here we can write anything that gives us a message that our application is running. So let us write the message running at port 8080. Now let us start our backend application. To do that, what you have to write is, you need to write node_mon index.js. When I wrote this command, node_mon index.js, I got this error, cannot be loaded because running script is disabled on node_mon. So what you have to do is, you need to write this command at once, and then if this command has done its work, you can run this command and you can see your changes, and you will get something like this. And then when you will use this command, which is node_mon index.js, you will see that your application is running. If you will get this yellow and green text written on it, and you are also able to see that running at port 8080, which we have written to make sure our application is working. Now let us create our first API endpoint. To do that, we have to write app.get, and here we have to give API endpoint. Let us give slash and then a callback function, and this callback function will have request and response object. And from here you can do rest.send. That means we are sending the response if someone is hitting at this endpoint, which is slash. Then you will get the response as. Let us also use one line, which is app.express.json middleware. Now let us save this. We have to put this inside code, and now let us save our application, and our application is running at port 8080. Now we have to refresh here, and you can see you are in home page. That means now we are able to create our API endpoint. Now you can see that our backend is also set up so that we can start writing more and more code to make our application. Till now we have created front end, we have also created backend. Now let us go and create our database so that we can save this information which is saved in this file currently. Then we will save this information in our database, and then we will take that information from our database to backend, and from our backend we will send it to frontend, and then in frontend user will able to see this information. To do that, what you need to do is, you need to go here. So let us do it with this account. So what you need to search here is, you need to search Mongo Atlas. Your database is saved in a cloud version. You can see multi-cloud database service. You have to click on this button, and then you will be landed here. And here you need to first sign up here. So you need to click on this button, try free. And then you can click on this button, sign up with Google. Use your Google account. And then click on this button, continue. Click on this button, I accept. Here it is asking which programming language that you primarily building your MongoDB with. So I am choosing JavaScript Node.js. which data that you are going to save in this. So I'm not sure. So let's click on this button, not sure. And will your application include any of this following architecture model? So AI, ML, I'm not sure about this. So let us click on this button. I'm not sure. And then click on this button, finish. By default, you will be here, but you can always go to this option, which is free. Otherwise, you have to pay some money for this. And then you can create on this button, create deployment. Now you can see we have username and we have password. So let us keep this username and password as simple as possible so that we do not forget it. And then you can click on this button, choose a connection method. Set up your user security permission below. You have to click on this button, driver. The screen is not coming. Let us do it manually. Go to this database. We are deploying your changes, 3 of 3 server components and configuring MongoDB. Click on this button, connect, compass, and it is generating our connection string. So it is still setting our database. So till that time we will create our backend. So for that we will create one folder which is inside your backend folder. Let us create one more folder for model, and let us create one more folder for route. So what are this model and route? If you have ever worked with backend, then you may know about MVC structure, which is model view controller structure. So this M stands for model. View is our front end that you can see we have different folder for it. So we are maintaining a view here, and controllers are also known as route. So we will create all our controllers here. So let us go and create a model for our product. So for that you need to write products. You can name anything, but what I'm naming is product.model.js. Inside this model, what we will do is we will first require Mongo. Now to create model, we have the structure const schema equals to mongoose.schema, and then you need to provide your structure. So what we have name, we have price, image URL, all of this thing. So we will have name, and here we can describe the type of it. So this name will be type of string. So we have different data structures in our JavaScript, which is number, string, array, functions, null, and undefined. So here I am taking data structure of string. As you can see, it is a character, series of characters which are string. So this name will be of type string. You can see this price. This price will be of type number. So we will give that, and we will also make it required true. Then we have this price. Let us write that price, and this will be of type number, and we will also make it required true. Now we have this image URL. We'll keep this here, and this image URL will also be of type string, as you can see. Then we have this total orders. So we will keep it here, and this will be of type number, and then we will have this quantity, and quantity is 1. That means it will also be of type number. I will increase the font size if it is not visible inside the setting. Font size, let us keep as 21. So now it should be clearly visible. Now since our schema is ready, we can create our model. So let us do that. Let us write this product model. So let us write product model equals to mongoose.model, and here you need to write your collection name. So the collection name will be product, and the name of the schema is schema. We are giving this schema right here, and now we will export this. In order to export this, you need to write model dot exports, and we will export this product model. Now what is this products written here? you can see this product inside our database. If I would like to explain you this file, it is just telling us what is the structure at which you are saving your data. So we are providing, it will have name, which will be of type string, and we are providing the structure, and then that structure will be saved inside this file in our database. So this file will be created automatically in our database, and all our data of this structure will be saved inside this file. That's it. Let us save this file. Now you can see our sample data is still loading. Now it is saying that sample data successfully loaded. Now we can click on this button connect and click on this button driver, and here you will get a connection string. So by clicking on this button copy, and now we will use this string to connect our backend with our this cloud database. You can see cloud.mongodb. All our database is saved inside this cloud. So for that, let us create one db.js file inside your backend. Create new file, and here we will write db.js. To connect our backend with database, we have installed one library which is mongoose. So we will use that. Const mongoose equals to require mongoose. We are just importing that library which is mongoose. Now we'll create one variable known as connect, and now we will write mongoose.connect, and here we will provide that string that we have copied it. Now one thing to notice is this is my username and this is my password. So I have to write my password here. That is why I kept it simple so that I do not forget it. So I have written my password, and after the slash, that means before this question mark, right here you need to provide your database name. So let us give this database name as management. You can name it anything. I'm just naming it as management. And now you need to export this variable. So how do we export it? We will write module.export. Now we will need this variable connect inside our index.js right here. So let us make this function as async function, and then we will use try catch block. This thing is a part of JavaScript. What is async function? What is this try catch? We'll keep this thing inside this try block, and now we'll use this variable that we have created just now, which is connect, and it will be imported from db./db, that means this file. And here we will write await. For connecting our database, we need to wait for some time. For making that connection, it will take some time. So that is why we are making it async and we are awaiting it. So once this connection is created with our database, so this is our database. Once only this connection is created, then only this line is going to be executed. And we can also make one line which is console.log connected to database. And if there is any error in connecting with our database, so it will go in this catch block. So it will catch the error. So what we can do for now is let us console this error. So we are consoling this error. Now once we will get this message running at port 8080. Now let us go inside this routes folder and we will create our route. For creating a route, we will need Express. So we will import this library right in this file. By writing const express equals to require. Now we will create a router. Let us create a product router by using express dot router. Now we will use product router dot post. Now why post? What is this post? We have some HTTP methods in JavaScript, which is get, post, put, patch, and delete. These are 5 HTTP methods. For adding something in our database, we will use this method, which is post. So how we will use it? First, you need to provide an endpoint. So let us keep this endpoint empty, no problem. And then we will have 2 things, which is request and response. Same as before that we have done it right here by creating our first API endpoint. So we will go inside here and we will make this function as async. Because we are playing with database, so every time we play with our database, we have to be asynchronous at that time. Now, we will create one variable known as product. And right here, we will use this new keyword. And then we will use this model. This model That means we have provided the structure of how our data will look like. So we are going to use this product model. So we will use this here, product model, and it should be imported automatically. You can see if it is not, we can always import it manually. And then inside this, it will take request.body. Then we will await it. We will wait for some time until it is not getting saved in our database. So we are waiting it, and we will write product.save. That's it. This 3 lines of code will help you to add products in your database. And once all of these things are done, how we come to know that the data is being stored in our database? So we will keep this inside a try-catch block. So this try-catch block means if everything is working fine, then it will be inside this try block. And if some error occurs, then it will come inside this block, catch block. So we can catch the error at that instant of time. If everything is working fine, then we will give a response to the user, to the developer who is using this API with the status 200. That means okay. You can also create 201 and we will give the response in JSON. You can also use send here. So let us use that only. Here, your data should be an object, and inside that you have to give the object name. Let us write message, and our message will be data added request only. Let us write this much data added. Now, if there is any error, so let us write response. It will give response and status will be 500. That means this status code means that there is some internal error. Let us write send here, and we will write message error occurred. Now let us export this. So how do we export it? We use export module.export, and here we write this and we are exporting this. Now we will import it in our index.js by this syntax only, app.use/product, and here we will provide product router, and it will be imported from routes. Inside this routes folder, inside this product.routes.js, which is this. Now let us check this API endpoint. To that, we will go to this extension. Now we will install one extension which is Thunder Client. So you can say this extension Thunder Client. So we will install it. If you have already worked with API endpoints, then you may have used Postman. This is very similar to Postman. So you have to click on this button, new request, and here you need to give your API endpoint link. So in our case, it is localhost 8080. We will provide it here. And for using this particular API that we have created recently, which is this adding products API, what we have to do is we need to write first this name, which is /products. So let us go in new request and write /product. Now we will make the request as post, and inside this body, we will provide this object. We will paste this. We will format it like this. Let us click on this button send, and we got one error which is cannot post product. And then you will get this message, data got added. Make sure you are saving your file. Once you will get this message, data got added, the status code is success 201, which is created. Now we can go inside our database and you can refresh this. And this was created by default by MongoDB itself. So we have created this management database. Inside this management database, this product is known as collection inside MongoDB. And if you will go inside this product, you will find that just now we have added this data. It got added ID automatically by default. We have given this name, image URL, total order, quantity, and price. Let us try with one more document. So let us decide give this document. In place of this, we will give this. This document has some error, missing this bracket. And if you will click on this button send, we did not get any error. And if you will go inside this and refresh this, you will see that 2 of this document got added. Now you can add one by one all the documents. So we have added all the documents one by one. So you might be thinking, why are we doing this much hard work, adding it one by one documents manually? Yes, I know this is not the way we usually do it. If you want all this data should be added once only, then you need a one more application, MongoDB Compass, by using which you can import all these documents at once only. Currently in my system, that application is not installed, so that's why I have done this manual work. But if you have MongoDB Compass, you can add all the documents at once only in one click. If you do not have, you can follow this step, adding the document one by one manually, which I have done that. So after refreshing it in your database, you can see all the documents are inside it. Now we can use this data to show it to the user. So how we are going to do that? For that, you will need to create another API endpoint, which will be of a GET request. So let us do that quickly. So inside our product.routes.js, this API endpoint was for adding products. Now let us create one more API endpoint for getting all the products. It is also going to be very easy. We are going to use this keyword that we have created here, and we are going to use get request to get all the products. So it will also take the API endpoint. We will keep it as blank, and then we will create this function as async, and then it will have two things, which is two objects, which are request and response object. And now we will create one variable known as product. So here we will get all the products, and since we are playing with database, so we are using this keyword await, and we will use our model, which is our product model, and then we will use this method, which is find. So it will find all the documents. So this particular one box and box, you can see these are known as documents. So it will find all the documents and it will return here. That's it. And then what we will do, we will keep this inside try catch block. So if any error occurs, so we should come to know that error occurs, message error occurs while getting data. Now we can send this product to the user. So how we will send it? We will use response.send. We will give data as product. So all the products array will be stored inside this product variable, and we are sending this product variable to the developer who is going to use this API endpoint. So let us check this also. So for making get request, you can go here. Let us duplicate it like this, and here from here you need to change this to get, and we don't need this, and you can send it. Okay, so this error occurred because we did not save the file. So you need to click on Control S to save this file, and now we will send it. Now you can see inside data variable, all this data, we are getting it. Now we are going to use this data in our front end. So how we are going to do that? So now we are going to use this data in our front end to show it to the user. So for this, let us close all of this, now not required. We will go inside our front end folder, inside this src, inside this app.js. So our front end application is also running successfully. So till now we have created both of this API info. But after some time, when I start my application, and you can see we did not get this message running at port 8080. Instead, we got some error, and we got this error from this block. An error says that Mongo server selection error could not connect to any server in your MongoDB Atlas cluster. That means we are getting some errors that we are not able to connect to our database. So let us go and fix that. One of the possible reasons that we are getting this error is because, as you can see, we also get one warning here: current IP address is not added. You will not be able to connect the database from this address. So if you also get this same error, then what you could do is go to this network access and then click on this button, add IP address. Now you can choose this button, allow access from anywhere, and confirm this. So you can see it is still pending. Now you can see status is pending. Now it got activated. Now this message should also be removed. Let us refresh this page. So now we are not getting that message. that current IP address is not added. So now let us stop this application by pressing Ctrl C and let us restart this application with the help of Node.js. We will write node index.js and now we got the message connected to our database. Great. Now let us go inside front-end folder. Now let us write the front-end code where we can display this API endpoints data to our user. For doing that, we have to go inside front-end folder and let us go inside app.js. Now here we will do that. So one common way to do in React is, now what are these components? These components are nothing but just a function. And we all know that functions are reusable. To make something reusable, component folder will create a new file. And let us rename this file as product.grid.js. You can also name it as JSX, the common extension in React, JSX. Now I am using an extension. What you need to do is you need to go here and search for extension which is ES7. Here you will get that extension ES7 React Redux React Native snippet. And this extension is very helpful. It will give us some code snippet which will make our life easy. After installing this extension, you will find it in your extension list just like this. Once you have installed this extension, write this 5 letters which is RAFC, that means React Arrow Function Common Export, and then you have to hit enter and this lines of code will be generated automatically with the help of that extension. Let us save this file and let us go here and instead of now displaying this name, let us display component that we have just created. The component name is product.grid.jsx. You can name it anything, but make sure whatever you are naming it, it is starting with this capital letter. It is the rule of React. Product.grid.jsx, and this is how you will import it. So it will be auto imported in VS Code from this address. Just save this file and we shall go inside our front-end application. Now you can see in place of my name, product grid is showing. It is showing because here inside this div tag, this product grid is written. Now we can write it anything, and yes, we will not write this, we will write something else. So what we have to do is, now we have to perform a fetch request so that we can fetch products from our database. In order to do that, there is a common method in React, which is by using a hook known as use effect. The use effect hook is needed to perform some side effects. So fetching this data is also known as performing side effects. For doing that, all you need to do is you need to write this syntax. This is the common syntax in use effect. And then here we will use fetch API, and here we will give our API endpoint. For our API endpoint, let us go inside Thunder client, and here we will get this API endpoint. Let us copy this and we will paste it here. Now we will use .then method and we will get some response. So we'll convert this response into JSON format. And then we finally get our data and let us console that data. And if there is any error, so we will catch it. So we will catch the error and let us console that error for now. What I have done is I have inspected it from here and I am inside my network tab. Let us refresh it again. We are not able to see anything. Okay, we have not saved the file. Let us save this file and let us go inside network tab and console it. And we are not able to make this request. We are not able to fetch this request because of course error. To solve this error, what you need to do is you need to write something which is npm I core. Let us go inside this website and from here you can copy this command and you have to come inside your backend folder, stop your application from here, and here we will write that npm I core. and hit enter. Now course will be installed in your backend folder. Let us go there, and if you will check in your packet.json, you will find that course is installed. Now you need to use this course. There is a way to use that. All you need to do is you need to first import the course and then you have to use it in this fashion. Go inside index.js, we are using app.use course. We have imported the course and then we are using it. Let us restart this application by writing node index.js. We are still encountering this error. It may be because we have to use this at the top level. So our database is connected, our port is running. Now we shall check this. Now you can see we did not get any error. Instead we got data. Inside data, we have our all this data. So if you will go inside this network tab, you will find that there is a product and here is our API endpoint link. If you will search this in your browser, you will get the response. This is the data that we got, same here also. So you can check that we have an object, inside that we have data. So we'll use that thing. Use this backend folder inside this product.create. In order to create variables in React, we have something, a hook known as useState. So let us use that to const data, set data equals to useState. This is a hook in React, and let us initialize it as empty array. And now instead of consoling this data, let us use this bracket and open. Now we can, this is a variable known as data, and by using this variable set data, we can set the data of that variable data. We cannot change the variable directly by using this data equals to and write something else. This is not valid in React. We have to use this. Set data function in order to change this data. So we will do that. We will do set data, and from here we shall take this data. So we will take data.data. We are doing this because here you can see the data is not directly present. It is inside this object. To get this all thing, we are writing data.data. And we shall save our file. And if we will refresh it, we will refresh this application. So we have not consoled anything. So we are not getting that. So let us console and see what we have saved inside of this data variable. So data.data. And as you can see, we got this, all this data. Now we are going to show this data to our user in grid format. So here, if you can understand that we are writing HTML so that our data should be visible to the user. So here I'm writing a class name. Why I have not written class? In plain HTML, CSS, JavaScript, you can write class, but in React, you have to write class name instead of that class keyword. Because class is a fixed keyword in JavaScript, which is used as a syntactic sugar for a constructor function. This is the topic of advanced JavaScript. Not go deep inside that. Only understand it. Instead of writing class, here you write class name in React. And that's it. And everything remains the same. So here you can write anything, your class name. Let us write product grid. Okay. Now inside this, if you need to write JavaScript inside this HTML code, so technically this is not HTML, but you can assume that this is a HTML, and if you want to write JavaScript inside that in plain HTML, this is not possible, but in React it is possible. You have to give this brackets, and now you can write JavaScript inside this code. So let us do that. So what we will do is, we have this variable known as data. Let us take that data and we'll map it. Now, map is a higher order function in JavaScript, which is a concept of advanced JavaScript concept. So we'll use that. Not advanced, but intermediate. So what we will do that. Now what we will do, we will use this data Let us take that data and we will map it. We are just iterating through each and every object. So we have done that and we will take here as product. Now, whenever you are mapping it and whenever you are mapping it, it is very important that you provide a key prop. All you need to do is you need to write key equals to product.id. Why we have written ID like this? If you will go inside our data, let us make a get request. You can see ID is not just like this, but we have to write this underscore also. This ID is generated automatically by MongoDB itself. So that is why we have to use that ID only. I will be rendering my image. For that, I have taken this image tag and here inside src. So whenever you need to write JavaScript inside HTML, we write this bracket. So that's what I'm going to do here. And we will take this product dot image URL. You can also give alternative name. So here we have one shortcut in VS Code. Every time writing this div tag, then class name, this is very boring. So instead what you can do is you can write dot. Dot stands for class as we know in CSS. And here you can give the class name, which is product button, suppose. And if you will hit enter, it will automatically take this div tag. Now we have to write CSS for this. So we will create one file name as product.css, which you can see it here. You can also get the CSS from my GitHub code. So once you have imported your CSS files here, I have also added this rupee sign, which you can easily find it from Google by writing rupee symbol, and you can copy this and paste it there. Then once I will refresh my application, you can see our application is looking like this. My objective is that whenever a user clicks on this button along with the user details and this product details, it should be saved in our database so that we can access that details in our admin section. So let us go and implement this functionality. Right now this button is clickable, but it is doing nothing. So for implementing that functionality, and you can also see this is completely responsive. So our application will not break. Now I will go inside my app.js and here I will make this grid as flex. So I will give a class name known as flex. Class name here I will give display flex. Just create one more component known as user details. And we are using RAFCE to write this code snippet for us. And we will import this thing right here. User details. And save it. And it should be imported like this. So currently we are getting like this. Now in the user details component, we will create one form so that we can take users info and then we can store it in our database. For this, let us write so right now we have basic form ready. Let us also create one button to submit this form. And we'll make, since we are using form, so we'll make type as submit. And we will also provide one class name. Now we have our basic HTML code ready. You can see. This is nothing but it's a pure HTML. Only the thing which I've added here is value. It is currently empty. Now we'll fill up this value. So as I told you before, for creating variables in React.js, we use a hook known as use state. So we'll use that as user and set user. So our variable name is user, and if we want to update something in this variable, we will use this function which is set user function, and we will be using use state. Here we have to provide the initial value. You can see this initial state. So we will provide initial state as name. So as we know that this name is stands for here. This name we are writing it here. So to take this value, which is currently empty, but to take this value, what we have to write? You have to write user dot name because this is an object. You can see. So in order to access this variable, we have to write user dot name. So we will write here user dot name. Same for this gender user dot gender. This is how we'll access this value. Let us save this file right now, and we should check. So right now you can see our form is ready here. It is looking like this, and we can give different values here. Currently it is looking like this because we haven't written any CSS for that. But before writing some CSS, let us write the logic first. So right now we have empty value, but when users type something, we need to update this value. So we'll update that value with the help of the set user function. So for this, we need to provide one extra thing right here, which is on change. And you can in VS Code to add multiple cursors, you can press one place where you want to add that cursor, and you can hold Alt, keep pressing wherever you want to add cursor. So here we will write on change, and it will take a function as handle change. So currently we do not have this function. Let us create this function right here. Const handle change equals to. Now this handle change will have event by default, and what we will do is we will use this function to update the values. We will use the set user function, and we will spread our user, spread all the values which are there in our this user variable, and then we can write. So if you're not understanding what is happening, this is a pure JavaScript which we are writing inside the set user function to update this form value. So let us save this, and now we see that E is not defined. So instead of this event, I can write E also. So let us write this E, and we will save this. And now if you will see, we are able to write on this form, and whenever we will click on this button submit, it should be saved in our database. So what we can do for now is, whenever I click on this button submit, so this button is of type submit. So since I'm using form, I have to write on submit here, and here I have to write one function. So let us write handle submit. Now we will create this function on handle submit equals to so as I told, this function will have by default event. It is fixed for all the functions, and whenever I will click on this button submit, you can see, since this is not written, so you can see our page got refreshed. But the main idea of React, why React was built, was to do not refresh the page. In order to stop this behavior, this is happening because of this form. So we can write e dot prevent default, because if our page is refreshed, that means our data is lost. So we don't want that our data should be lost. So let us save this file, and whenever I will click on this button submit, so we got everything here. This coming inside this array. We don't want this. So instead, we can remove this. I don't know why I put this, and now I will save this. And if I will click on this button submit, now should save this. Let us refresh. And if I will write something here, now you can see we are getting each and every details of this user, each and every details that user had typed in. Now let us write some CSS so that it looks nice. So after adding some CSS, my application is looking like this. So what I have done here is I have made few changes. Instead of writing this product grid directly, I have put it inside a div and made the class name as product. And inside app.css, I have written some CSS, some sort of CSS, which you can see here. And for this user details, this CSS I have written inside this grid, product grid CSS only. You can say user details, and here I have written the CSS for that. You can always take the CSS from my GitHub code. Do not worry for that. So right now my application is looking like this. Now let us inspect it and check our functionality. So go inside console. Let us write my name and just write gender as. So I don't want I should write this female and male every time. So what I can do for that, and whenever I click on this button submit, you can see my data is coming very nicely, and this is the data along with this product data. We will send it to our backend. So I don't want that I should write this every time in this input boxes. So what I can do, I can use a select tag for that. So let us go inside user details, and for gender, let us use select tag, and here I will provide option. Value will be first, it will be male. Now same as this before. Let us give name as gender here, and ID as gender. We are giving like this, and for on change, we will take this. Now we don't required, and let us make this required. Now we don't want this. Now we got the male and female select box. Let us check the functionality also, and it got selected female very nicely. So let us style this also. Now you can see this is looking nice. Every time we do not have to write that male and female, we can just select that option from here, and everything remains the same. And whenever I click on the button submit, we will get this information. But I don't want only this information. I also want whenever I click on this add to button, add this card button, along with that product details and this user detail, both of the things we will send it to the database. Whenever I click on this button, add to cart, I have to write one function. I will run this function which is underclick. So Now I don't have this function, so let us create this function. Const handle click equals. Now I want that here we will take this product as a parameter. So what we can do, we cannot pass it directly. We cannot do this directly. You will find so many glitches if you do it directly. So we will use this callback function method, and then we can pass this product here, and then we can receive this product here. What I want is whenever I click on this button, it should be add in the local storage. So for that, let us create one variable known as let existing product. Let us create one variable known as previous product, and we are using local storage dot get item, and we will get that item that will be product. If we do not get this, we will take it as empty array. This is an OR operator. If this fails, then this will be the value of this particular variable. So since this will be array of objects, so we need to first pass it. For that, we need to write json.path. Now what we can do, since I know this is an array, whenever I click on this, I need to add this product which is available here in this array. So in array, we have a push method, array.push will push this product. Then we can add this to our local storage. Local storage with set item, and our item's name is product. So let us keep some other name so that we do not get confused. This is our key name, and our value will be previous product. And we cannot pass it directly since this is array of objects, so we need to use json.stringify, and we can pass it here. Let us save this file. So we will inspect it, and then you need to go in your application tab. So whenever I click on this, this was created before. Whenever I will click on this, you can see we got this array of data. So if I will click another, it is getting added. You can see here. Now my problem statement is the product is getting added, as you can see here, but user is not getting any indication that this got added. So what we can do for that, let us create one state from added, set added, use state, set added should become true. Currently this is false. Whenever I will click on this button, this will become this added will become true. And now here we can check it like this. If added is true, this is a ternary operator. If it is true, then we can show it as added, or else we can show as add to cart. Whenever I click on this button, add to cart, nothing is happening because we haven't saved this. Now I will click on this button, added, so everything got added. So we cannot set it directly like this. Instead, what we can do, we will use this setAdd function, and here we will use callback function. Here we will spread. So let us make this as an object first. Now we will take some previous state. Here we will spread all that previous state. Product dot id, and we can make this as true. Now here we can check added of product dot id is true, then it will show added, otherwise it will show add to cart. And we can also do one thing, we can disable this. We can also disable this button by writing disable. Should make this as button instead of this div. Now we can use this property known as disable. Disable, and we will write one condition. If added of product.id If this is true, then we can write true, or this will also work. Let us save this file and check. Now whenever we'll add this, it got added. Now we can see now benefit of adding this line. This what this line is doing is this is just inline styling in HTML how we used to do it. Only the thing is I have used two brackets here because this is React. It takes two brackets. Let's refresh. Now I will add this. Now you can see now I cannot add this product more than one time in my cart. There is a problem. So there is a one problem that I can see. Whenever I fill this detail and I do not choose this gender option and submit, you can see my gender option is empty here. To fix this issue, what we can do is I'm inside my user details. We can use a value here and we'll use user.gender, and here inside this user.gender we will give default value as male. Now we'll save this, and now I'm not touching this gender. If I will submit it, it took default value as male, but if I will change to female, this will take as female. One more thing, instead of using local storage, we should use session storage. There is a slight difference between local storage and session storage, which I will explain to you. If I will close this window, my data will be lost if I will use session storage, and if I will use local storage, my data will not be lost. It will be still be there inside my browser. For this functionality, I think using session storage makes more sense. So you can find session storage. Now we don't need this data right after this local storage. So currently this is empty. Let us add it to the cart, and you can see this is working as expected, and everything is getting added. And let us console it and see. So we are getting users details as well as we are also getting this array of objects, this product details. Now to send this detail in our backend, we need to create API endpoint. And one more thing, you can see this mobile, it should be number. Here I am able to write text also to change this type to number. This will be the last thing that we are going to do in this client side application. Then we will completely move in our admin section. So what I can do is we can write a fetch request here. So let us write fetch request. And right now I do not have any API endpoint. Let us take any random. And here we will put our API endpoint. So this is not my correct API endpoint. So let us write user. We do not have this API endpoint in our backend, but we will create it. And then you need to pass here. First, you need to give the method. So the method will be post. Post because we are sending something to our backend. Then we need to take header. And inside the header, we will be having content type. Here we will write application JSON. And then we will have body. And inside this body, we need this data, which is product data. So we'll pass the object here. Here we will pass this user object as well as product. This product. And once it is done, we will say console.log. Then we will write this logic afterwards, but till now we will write this much and keep with it. Let us save this file. And since we do not have this API endpoint, let us create this one. So we need to go inside our backend, and inside this route, let us create another route for user. So we will write user.route.js, and we, before creating route, we need model. So let us create user.model.js, and for creating model, we need Mongo. So let us do that same thing which we have done here. Let us copy this and paste it here. Now we need to change something. This thing will remain same. Now we do not need name. Instead, we need some other details. We will need order date, and the type will be default value. We can provide it as now. So this is an inbuilt function which will give us the current date in JavaScript from this date.now. And another thing we will require is this total amount will tell us what is the cost that user has purchased product about. And then we need user, and this will be of type object. Then we need products will be of type array. ID will be generated automatically. So what we are doing is we are storing this product as well as this user object inside our backend, inside here. And we will also need to pass this thing which is total amount. So we need to calculate the total amount. It is array of objects. So what we can do is we can write like this, array of objects. And now this is fine. Our schema is ready. Now let us create route for adding that product. So creating route will be same as before. What we can do, we can copy this, or let us write it from scratch. We are exporting it as user model. Okay. And we will create it as user, and here we will write user model. Great. Now let us create route. Inside user route, let us create const equals to require express. Now we will create router for it. So, and now we can use this user router. So we will perform post request to send that to our database. So this will have API endpoint. Let us keep empty for now. And it will have request response object. And we will export this. So we will write module.export equals to user router. This. Let us save this. Now here we will use try catch block, and let us make this function as ASIC because we have to play with database here. So what we can do from here is we can write const user details is equal to new, and we are using user model here. And here we can pass request.body. Same thing we have done before. And then we can write user details.save. And since we are playing with database, so we have to await it. So this thing will be saved. And then we can send a response set with status code. Status code 201 and dot send, and we will send message as, and we will save this file. Now we will use this use router in our index.js. So after this we can write app.use. So whenever anybody hit on this URL, which is user, it should go under this user router. The user router got imported, so it will come here. If it is a post request, then this functionality will take place. So we made some mistake here. Instead of this, it should be here. It should be here. And here we have to write user model. Just save this. And now this should work. Just refresh this. Good. And this should be user. So here we will write the logic for finding the total amount. How much is the total amount that user has purchased the product. So for that we will use array.reduce method in JavaScript. So let us write that. Let total amount is equal to, we will use this product array, products dot reduce. This is a higher order function in JavaScript. This will basically have two things. First is accumulator. Second is the current object. Since we have array of objects, the first second will be current object, and then we can do accumulator plus current object dot price, and it will take initial value. Let us keep it at 0, and then we will console.log total amount. Now let us save this. Now accumulator is not defined. No, should not be the case. Okay, let us inspect. Let us go inside this application. Let us clear everything. So currently I'm adding the product which is of 299. You can see here, add to cart. I have only one product. Now I will add my user's details and I will click on this button submit, so that you can see that I got 299 at line number 24. Line number 24. 24. Here I got my total amount. And if I will add one more product which is of 999, let us submit that. So I got total of 299 and 999, which is 1298. So my this functionality is working. Now I need to send this total amount to my backend. So I will take this and I will keep it here. And inside my backend there is some error. What is that error? This object is not valid. Okay. What I should do here is I should write JSON.stringify, and then inside this I need to pass this. Okay. So we have created this user output, length.case user, and we are using it here. Okay. Now let us submit it away. We are getting some error. Have we saved the file? We are getting one error, which is user model is not a constructor. Okay, let us see that. This user model getting product model. Let us see user. Let me import this again. Now I will save this file. Now let us try it again. Submit, and this time we are able to make a request, which we can check in network tab, user, and it got created. Now we can go and check in our database. Go in this database. Click on this browse collection. and our database name was management, and here we have product which we have added, and now we have this one more collection which is users collection, and here we have this thing. So this is the ID, this is the total amount that user has purchased things of, and we have this order date, and we have array of objects where we have which product that user has picked up and the user detail, which you can find it here. That's it. Now we are ready to build our admin section with this data. So user did not get any information that your purchase is successful or not. So let us do that last thing. For that we will use toast, React toast. We have this react.toastify. So we will get toast something like this. So we need to install it, and then we have to use it like this. First import it. We have copied this. Let us go in our front end folder. I'm inside my front end. Now here I will stop my application by pressing Ctrl C, and then I will use Ctrl Shift V to paste this command and hit enter. Now inside my package.json, you can see this library is also installed, which is React Toastify. Now in order to use this library, what we have to do, we have to go inside users detail. Now let us restart our application by writing npm start. To use this library, what we can do, we need to first import it. We need to import this to live. Let us do that. Now we have to use this toast container. We will do it here. And now we have to use this. We have to use this. And if it is not, then I can say that something went wrong. But and we can say purchase successful. We got this message here. So we have 3 documents. So that is it for our client side. Now we will work on our admin section. We want another page. To create another page, like we can write something like /admin, and we should move in our admin page. In order to do this routing, we need something in React, which is to achieve that functionality, we will need React router DOM. So we will install this library now. To install this library, we need to first stop our application by pressing Ctrl C, and then we will press Ctrl Shift V to paste this command and hit enter. So this is successfully installed. Let us start our application by writing npm start. We have to go in index.js. Here we will need browser router, React router DOM, and this is browser router, and we will wrap our application with browser router. Let us save this file, and now we need to create route. For that, let us create one new file which is allroute.jsx. Here we will use RFC, and then here we will need route from React router DOM, and inside this route we will use route. here we need to give us path. Let us write path as slash. If the path is empty, then element will be home page. So currently we do not have any home page. So let us create one more folder named as pages. And inside this pages, we will first write home page .jsx, RFC. So this is our home page. And here we will create admin page. Admin page.jsx, RFC. And then we will save this file. And inside this, here we will import home page. So we have to import it like this. With this brackets. And if it is slash admin, then we should move it admin page. For that, let us write admin page.js and it should be imported. Let us save this file. Now, we need to import this all route in our app.js. All routes, we will import it here and we will save it. Now, let us see our app. This is home page. And if we will do slash admin, so we are inside admin page. Now, why we are able to see this thing again and again? It is because we have to move this thing in our admin page. In our home page, we need to move all these things. So let us move that in our home page. So now we will move all these things here. Let us save this. And we need to import this. No, we are not getting some error. We can remove this from here and we can save now. And this is our admin page. If we will move to slash, then we are inside our home page. So this is our home page. And just now we created admin page. This admin page. Now we will start working here, where we will use this data, this products data, this users data, all this data we will use here to create this section. First of all, let us show all this data in table format in this admin section. For this, what we will do, we need to create one route to get all those data. For that, we need to go in route, then user route, and here we created post request. Similar to that, we will create get request. So user router.get. Let us be empty, and here we will write async. Then request response object, and then we will just try catch block to catch any error. And if there is any error, we will write this same thing which we have written here, like this. We will write let data equals to, we'll use await user model dot find, and this will find all the data which is present in our collection, and then it will return. So what we can do, response dot send, and we need to save this file now. Now we have to go in our front end and make fetch request. We need to go in this admin section, and here we will create our fetch request. So we will use effect. This will take a callback function and a dependency array. And here we will perform our fetch request, fetch, and our API endpoint is same as this. After this, we can write if everything is correct. After this, we can say if everything is correct, then dot then. convert that response object in JSON format, and if this is done, then give us that data. What we can do, if there is any error, we will catch that error. Here we can write error and we will console that error and check. So we are inside our admin page, that is inspect and console. So we got one object, which is data object. So we got all this data. Inside this data, we have object where we have user details. Inside this user details, which user has purchased which product. We have everything. So same as before, what we will do, we will create one variable known as data. Let us write user data instead. Set user data. We will use use state. The initial value will be empty. After we get this data, what we will do, we will set user data to data dot data. So we got array of 3 objects, which is right here. Now we will create a table here. Let us do this very quickly. Now to show this data in our UI, we will create a component. Now let us name it as order table.jsx. We will use a shortcut command, which is RAFCE. Now here we will use table element from our HTML. This code is self-explanatory. Now we will use table body. Inside this table body, we will use JavaScript to map our data. So we will bring our data from this admin page. As you can see in this variable user data, we are saving all the data. We are saving all our data. So we'll use it here by giving a prop data and passing this user data inside it. Now we can take this user data in our order table from destructuring in this component. Now we can iterate through all this data to show it on our UI. So we will use a higher order function, which is map, to do this. To write any JavaScript code, we will use this curly braces. Now we will use data.map. Since we are mapping, we have to pass the key prop. We will use table row element, and here we will pass key as element.id. Now let us save this file and we will have a look. So we have to write here /admin. We need to save this file also, admin page. So after we save this, we will see the error has gone. Now we are seeing our data in this fashion. This is just a pure HTML. We need to add some CSS to add styling. So let us do that. Now, one of the problem that we can see is in our database, the order date is saved in this manner, which we are showing it here. But usually this is not user friendly. So let us make it more readable. For that, we will create a helper function right here to format our date. So this function will take a date string, which we will get it from here. Now we will create a new variable known as date. We will use this constructor function, which is new date. It is a pre-built function, and we will pass this date string in this function. And now we will return date dot. Now, in order to use this function, we have to, instead of directly writing like this, we will first use this function, and inside this we will pass this element dot order date. So now we can see our date is now formatted in this fashion, where 8 is the month, which is August, and 14 is our date, and it is 2024. It is 5 o'clock in the morning. Now I want to add the functionality. When I will click on this user details button, a model should be pop up, and where I should be able to see the details of the user. So let us do that. For doing this, we will create a new component known as model, and we will use this command rfce to quickly create this code snippet. Inside this model, we will take few functions. Let it be is open to check if this model is open, on close, and we will also take content to make this component reusable. In starting, I will check if is open is false, so we will return nothing. So we can write return null. But if is open is true, so we will return all these things which are present here. So let us write few more things here. Whenever a user will click on this portion, on this div, so we will run this function which is on close. We will write on click, run this function which is on close. If user will click on this content area, then we will do, whenever a user will click on this, then we will do event dot propagation. We will do event dot stop propagation. And whenever user will click on this button, which is close button, we will run this function which is on close. Now we will save this file, and wherever we want model, we will use this component. So we want in this order table component, so let us use it here. Model.jsx component at the end. So we need to write model, and it will be imported, as you can see. And here we need to pass few functions, which is open, on close, and content. So for all of these props, we will create few functions. Let us create this is model open, and here we will write a function which is model content. Now since these functions are not with us, we will create this function by ourselves. So we will start creating one by one. For doing this, let us create two states. Is model open state. By default, the value will be false. This function will take parameter which is content. Here we will set model content. And after this, we will set this to true, so that we know that our model is open now. So we'll make this as true. Now we will write this function, which is close model function. So whenever a user will click on the close button, so this function will run. So this function will do nothing. It will just set this value to false. That means our model is not open. So we'll write here false. And we also have to make the content empty. So we will set our content to null again. Now, whenever user will click on this button, which is user detail button, this button is nothing but this button. Whenever user will click on this button, we will trigger this function. For this, we will use on click And we will use this function now, which we have created here, open model function. This function will take argument as content, so we need to pass content here. So let us pass that. Inside this, we will write a div element.user.name. So why are we writing this element.user.name? It is because in our database, we have stored data in this manner only. So when we are iterating, to all of this object. So first we have to write this element, which we are taking it from here, from this map function. And then we have to write this user, and inside this user we have name. So we are writing element.user.name. So we will get this name in place of that. Now let us save this file and we shall check this. Whenever I will click on this button user detail, you can see we are able to see this user details over here, and it has this cross button. So this button is coming because of our model.js, and we are using this. So that is why this cross icon you are able to see it. And whenever we will click on this button close, so this function will run, which is on close function, and this is how it will work. So right now this is not much beautiful, and this will change for all of it. So right now this is not looking beautiful because we haven't added any CSS yet. So let us add some styling now. Let us name it as model.css. And now we need to import this CSS in this file. So we will write import dot slash model.css. After saving this file, we will see that this is nice. So you can see this model will pop up, and then we are able to close this by clicking on this button close, or else we will click anywhere on the screen. So this model will close automatically. So same we will do for this also, for this button also. So since our functions are reusable, only thing we need to pass is the content inside our model. So let us go inside this order table, and we have done for this user details. Same thing we will do for this button, which is product details. So whenever we will click on this, we will run this function, which is open model function. This function will take content as a parameter. So let us pass that content here. Let us have a look in our data, how we are storing it. So right now I want that whenever I will click on this button product details, this details should be visible. You can see this is the array of objects. So we need to run a loop here to map through all of this different elements. So let us do that. Since we need to write JavaScript, so we are using this curly braces, and now we will run a loop on this element dot product dot map. Since we are using this curly braces, we need to wrap this inside a div tag. And since we are mapping, we have to pass this key prop, which is very important in React. Now we can change this. After saving this, we shall see that we are not able to see because we are not returning it. So map to higher order function will always return something. So we need to return this div. content from this function. So let us save this. Now, when you will click on this button, you can see we are able to see the images, we are able to see all the details about the product. So that's it for this video. In our next video, we will also add some graphs and to visualize our data. Along with this, we will also add filters and some searching and sorting stuff to manage our this user data here. If you like this video, you can hit a like button. If you have any doubt, you can write it in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel for the next part.